Hector Bravo, unhinged. Chaos is now in session.
Welcome back to another episode of Unhinged. Today we have another special guest, Taylor Cavanaugh, who was a French Foreign Legion, Navy SEAL, a physical fitness instructor, and overall just a badass, man. I'm excited to have you here, Taylor.
Hector, thanks, man. Appreciate it, bro.
What's up, dude? So,
chilling.
man, I asked you outside, when did you come on scene, bro? Because you just started blowing up, dude.
Dude, I launched my, YouTube when I realized, dude, I was at a suicidal state, before, and then now over years, it took me years in that French Foreign Legion barracks room to where I was like, man, I'm having good days every day now, right? And that was last year, like this exact time last year, and I just got back in the country in December, and yeah, man, we've been rocking and rolling since.
You've been hitting it, huh? Nonstop?
Dude, like a chop in the wood, man. I approach this like anything else.
Yeah.
Like a job. I take it seriously, man. Every day I'm up doing this thing. And, as you know, man, it's about that that diligence is the only way I know how to work.
That's what's up, dude. So you were in the United States military?
Yeah. So I was a SEAL, and I was at SEAL Team 7 for about 7 years before I had some problems and I got kicked out. And I failed a steroid test, but I had some other things that brought some heat on me. To bring that heat on me. I was no victim, man, And so I brought the heat on me, and I took it on the chin, and I took a general discharge and got out, and then worked in the civilian world for a little bit. Down in Chula Vista, actually, we were building a whole kind of near the amphitheater out there. We're building a big residential community.
Nice.
So that's what I started doing.
Where's SEAL Team 7 based out of?
Coronado. So right here down in San Diego, and at the SEAL compound down there. I think they moved down to IB. But they were up in Coronado at the time.
So did you always have that drive? Were you always like that hyper kid that you had to get yourself doing stuff?
Yeah, I would say probably. I don't like labels. I don't like the ADD and stuff, but I'm sure I'm on that type of spectrum at some point. And I was always out. I would get in trouble in school. I was always pretty good at school, though, pretty smart. But I played sports but got in a lot of trouble, too.
So when you saw the Navy SEALs or the Navy in general, that's what you were attracted to that?
Man, dude. When I realized that you could be a soldier, just in general, I think probably a lot of us when at like 7, some kids they're playing, for like us, we were playing for real.
Yeah.
We were like training, we were out in the canyons and shit. And we were like out in the desert. Dude, you were playing for real.
Right.
and better at it than most. Right? And so I think I had an aptitude for it, and I found out about SEALs, and so I kind of latched onto that. In our era, our time, it was kind of, man, we grew up, it was like Schwarzenegger and Stallone, and it was like the jungle and that whole
How old
scene.
are you, dude?
I'm 39.
39.
Yeah.
We're the same age, bro.
Yeah. So I was like, we're our age, that time bracket, it was like man shit, commando shit.
Right.
It was like, okay, that's a job. I'll go
We're
try
gonna
that.
we're gonna bring it back, bro. This fucking country went too far in one direction, man.
I think the pendulum, we're starting to see it kind of swing back.
Yeah, we are.
I think we're starting to see kind of I was talking with my fiance about it's kind of starting to be cool again to have traditional values. I started to see that in like high school and shit. Like they're like, traditional values are coming back. Thank God.
Right.
Because I think people started to see that things started to get really illogical and dangerous and didn't make sense. And man, it's eroding the morality of what made this country great, man. Hard work, accountability, those things are, man, it's the pillars that make any community, business, family work. Why would we think that our country's any different?
I like that, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. So after the military, you went into some civilian work. How long was that space in that civilian work until how the hell did the French Foreign Legion come to mind with you?
That's a good question, man. And the French Foreign Legion came on my radar when I was a kid. At some point, I found out about them. But I'm like, oh, that's kind of weird, foreign fighter unit. But got shelved. And then when I was getting out of, I went to college. It took me a bunch of years to go to college, but I ended up getting a degree. But I had a bunch of misdemeanors that I had DUI, driving unsuspended, and some fightings, and just a bunch of things that had stacked it. So getting in the military, I had to go to jail. So I went to jail for 6 months to commute my probation to have the opportunity to even talk to a recruiter.
Is that what the recruiters had told you? Was that one of the obligations?
No, that's what I knew because
Okay.
on any type of probation, they were like, dude, you can't enlist. So I said, okay. Well, I just went to a lawyer and said, what do I got to do? And they said, well, and the judge said, you could serve some time. So I said, all right, let's rock and roll. So I went on like a lockdown facility up in like Santa Cruz County on misdemeanors up there with felons, about to go. They're shipping up state, dude. And I'm like, what am I doing in here? But it was actually, I felt good about it because finally I could go into my purpose. But coming out of that, when I was realizing the administrative hurdle that I was about to go through, going, man, dude, the Marines turned me down for tattoos. Army turned me down for criminal background. And so Navy took me. But in that process, I was like, well, if I get turned down from everybody, what are my options? And so that's when I started to come on my radar about the Foreign Legion. So it was when I was in my very early 20s.
I like your style, man. I like your style, dude.
Just
a wild dude, bro.
Man, just, and it felt systematic though. I'm like, I'm going to find, and I'm sure you're like this, Hector. Bro, I'm going to keep pushing until I get an absolute no.
Correct.
And I think a lot of people stop when they just hit friction or an obstacle. And that path of least resistance leaves rivers crooked, man.
A lot of people don't even start.
They don't even start because they project the problems and they go, or if they get some friction, they take it as a sign. I go, no, the sign's much further than that, dude.
Would you agree that the whole crabs in the bucket mentality discourages a lot of people from doing what they want to do?
You cannot listen to anybody who's not in a position that you're trying to be in. So family's some of the worst at that, man.
No, they are the worst, bro. No disrespect.
Yeah, family is some of the worst at that. And just because somebody's coming from a position of love does not mean they're right. And that is where people are mistaken. They go, well, they love me, they must be good. No, they're operating out of fear. A lot of fear, man. They're operating from, we want to keep you safe and what they know and in their realm. When if you have a bigger vision, man, you have a bigger vision. Like take Schwarzenegger, for example, right? If he would have listened to his family, he'd have been living in some town in Austria, dude, for the rest of his life and been a police officer. And listening to that internal voice, I call it God, man, but people call it what they want. But that authentic voice, it whispers at you. It doesn't shout. And so you got to listen to it and you got to quiet the noise to hear it.
Dude, that's awesome to hear, man. Yeah, we think the same exact way, dude.
Yeah, and then it's execution and relentlessness. And so when you latch on like a pit bull, man, on a tire, hold on, man. Stick to it, run it to ground. I was riding my bike to the recruiters, dude. They were telling me no, and I was, sitting on my mom's couch. I was stacking boxes at Home Depot, man, at night, trying to figure out what I was gonna do, and just kept going until I got the right answer.
What about failing?
Yeah.
How do you view that? Because I view that as I love it, bro. Because I know that's where the growth is gonna happen.
Dude, failure's the best teacher. And failure also means right failure, right? There's
Correct.
fucking up and failure.
I like that, dude.
Which I've done a lot of fucking up, but then I've also had and true failure is when you're striving and pushing and hitting that line. And then, okay, now you can reset. How do I approach it a little differently, a little better? My first SEAL screening test, I failed. And a lot of people are like, oh, you must be so like you done SEAL. Dude, I'm not particularly that like good of an athlete. I'm a terrible runner. Like I have a lot of things that I had to work past to actually get and achieve some of the things I did. But dude, I failed. And there's a difference between defeat and failure. And that's where I think people need to understand the difference. Bro, if you're defeated, you're done.
Right.
Failure, man, you could lose some battles, bro, and still win the war. So, dude, keep chugging,
dude.
bro.
That's what's up, man. When you were in the SEAL teams, is there anything you particularly like maybe the camaraderie, the teamwork, or maybe what did you like about the shooting? You got to shoot guns? What did you like?
What I really liked about the SEAL teams is it wasn't too formal, which I really liked. Like you're not saluting your officers. You go through the same training as your officers, so there's a tight cohesion. And there's a lot of responsibility and autonomy. They give you plenty of rope to hang yourself with. I mean, dude, as a new guy showing up, man, you're starting to book your own training trips by yourself, renting Tahoes, going places, and having to perform when you get to these places. You leave a school failing, man. It ain't cool in the SEAL teams. And also, there's no group PTs. There's no group runs. They're like, dude, the only way if you show up at a training site in land warfare and you can't get down, bro, you're getting your bird pulled. It's as simple as that. They're like, oh, you can't. Later. Like, you obviously aren't meant to be here. So I really liked the responsibility that was placed on you. It's just big boy rules, man. like from day one, which
I like
that's
that.
what I really liked about it.
I like that, dude.
Yeah.
Now, what about structure versus authority? Do you
Yeah.
have a problem with authority?
Oh man, man, authority, man. I still have to check myself. I don't even like when the security guard in Walmart tells me something. You know,
Right.
I have a real proclivity to push back against authority. I don't want somebody to tell me to put my fucking seatbelt on, man, or put a helmet on. I don't see the need for government to get in my Wheaties about keeping me safe or anything of the sort, for that matter. But structure, man, is required for any type of clarity. And structure can be self-imposed. It also, man, I found a lot of benefit from having structure in sports. You know, if you played, football or whatever growing up, man, that saved me for a lot of years and a lot of pain. And when that was removed at the beginning, bro, when I lost sports, I had some struggles, some transitional period struggles, drugs and alcohol and car accidents and things like that. And then gaining that structure back in the military, it was nice because now I had a reason to be structured, wake up early. And then when that was removed again, maybe what you experienced, Hector, getting out, when that rug is kind of pulled out from you, man, then you're left to your own devices. And that's when I started taking Adderall, Xanax, weed. I was taking fentanyl every fucking day, man. Not during the day, because I was like,
Prescribed or not prescribed?
prescribed. That's part of the reason. That's how I could lie to myself. I'm like, oh, it's chill, man. It's from a doctor. Or
Yeah.
I'm not doing it I'm not drinking at work, or I'm not doing this, but I'm sipping vodka at the gym.
Right. Oh,
Damn. In the evening. I'm like, oh, I'm done with work, man. It's all good. Take the edge off. And those habits. I'm disciplined with shit, and I'm also disciplined with when it's bad.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stay structured so I'm very careful about the daily things I do, because I'll structure in. If it's gonna be bad, it's gonna be good.
Well, you just described insanity.
Yeah. Dude, it's insanity doing the same thing again and again and expecting a different result.
Do you have an addictive personality?
Yeah, I'd say I have a habitual personality. Like, I can shed things quick, but if I got to be very careful, because when I find something that works or I like, I'll stick with it. Mm-hmm. Breakfast, training, whatever. It can be good or bad.
Yeah.
But if I'm like, oh, this works in my day, it's locked in.
That's what's
So
up.
I got to be real careful about what I lock in.
Nice.
Yeah.
So when you left the Navy SEALs, did you feel, like you said earlier, the rug pulled from underneath you?
Yeah, and it was because, man, I didn't want to get out. I wasn't.
Okay.
It was hard because, dude, I wanted to stay in a career. I was going to try to go to that next level, and I gave it away, right? I fucked up. And so I was getting out earlier than I really wanted, and I had to go back to jail, serve a little time, not a long time, but a few weeks to clear up some shit, and then I was signed on my DD-214, cleared, and that's when I was like, what's my identity? Dude, I was a SEAL. That's how my whole identity was wrapped around. It's all I ever wanted to do. It was my dream. Now what was I? So that I didn't even process that. I shelved it and was just like, well, I'm just gonna go work and then go 1,000 miles an hour in this direction. And you could only bend reality so long before it came crashing down.
Damn. So what emotions were you feeling when you got kicked out of the Navy? Shame, guilt, remorse? What were you feeling?
Man, all those, Hector. The worst was like the self-loathing. I had this like self-loathing at the beginning because I had federal marshals here in a van trying to extradite me out of state.
Holy shit.
It was complicated. I was getting sued by a guy for $500,000. I had 3 lawyers in 2 states hemorrhaging cash. I had a military attorney, 3 civil attorneys. It was mayhem. And a violation of probation. They're calling me. My phone's blowing up, taking drug tests. I'm still doing cocaine, selling cocaine at this time. To pay for lawyer, it was insanity chaos in every direction. And so what I was feeling was so stressed, man. I don't wish that level. I don't even know how I was standing. And looking back, I don't know how I was operating on a day-to-day basis. But I was like going to the gym, trying to like walk through quicksand is the only way I could describe it. But I was definitely stressed the fuck out.
Damn, dude, I fucking feel stressed just hearing that, man.
That was
a lot, dude.
Yeah, it was a lot, man. And when that got all cleared up, dude, it was weird because I realized, oh my God, dude, wow, this feels great. I hadn't realized that I had years of like all these cases and stress and things on me. I mean, I was in Iraq facing on bail and facing a jury trial for facing 6 years in prison when I got back.
Oh, bro, I never heard of that before.
Dude, I was like the only person it ever happened to, dude. The court approved me to leave the country and the team to leave and go to Iraq on bail. I was on a felony bail trial. Dude, it was like, all right. And I was on a helicopter from Baghdad flying up to like south of Mosul going, thank God. Or like getting shot at. And I'm going, oh man, I was like, at least I don't got to deal with that shit, man.
Right.
It was seriously like, it felt like a gift just being on that bird. But that was a time that I volunteered to stay over there, man. I was thought about joining the Kurdish Peshmerga, dude. I was like, I'll just stay over here and go AWOL. I thought about it, bro, because I was that not wanting to come home and deal with the reality of what I was facing.
So it makes sense now because I was like, how did this dude get involved with the French Foreign Legion? Like, it seems to me so far out, like a choice. And it makes sense now.
Well, dude, it got worse. And so even through that, and I cleared it up, and then I was like achieving some measures of success, but stacking those bad habits, Hector. And then it all came crashing down. I did a line of fentanyl, smashed my head on the table, cut my face open. It was like the venture I used to work in this high rise right here, so it feels like full circle victory lap, dude. Coming back here, it was like my whole world had just. When you know something's done, it's done. It was like that moment. And man, I left. I went to Big Island of Hawaii and was just trying to like, okay, I'm gonna let some things cool down and then we'll figure it out, and was kind of waiting for that next opportunity call that always came. No call came. Then I ran out of money, and next thing I know, I'm homeless in my truck. I have a sawed-off shotgun next to me, and I'm going, all right. Well, I was like, well, this is how it happens. I remember turning the key off on my truck, and everything went quiet. I remember this moment. It was like dead quiet in the jungle, like deep jungle, man. I was parked way out there, kind of near where the volcano was erupting. And I just remember being like, oh, this is how it sneaks up. I had no money, no gas, no anything. I go, oh, I'm tired, bro. I was like, I don't know how to climb out of this one. And I don't want to. That was, I spent that for a few days pondering that. And that's when I started to have that, I had that moment of that authentic voice of God speaking to me, being like, sack the fuck up, dude. Like, you have a sister, a mom.
Yeah.
Like, dude, you're not, think about somebody else but yourself for 1 second. Like, play the dialogue. And this is for anybody, man. If you're in a bad state, and this was very helpful for me when I had this kind of realization, or when this realization was showed to me, it was, dude, play your inner dialogue to yourself out loud. What if you recorded it and played it back to you? What would it sound like? And if I did that, it was me.
Yeah.
I, why me? I'm sad. It was all about me. And so that's when I go, you know what? Fuck it, I'm gonna join the French Foreign Legion. I got one more push to like to just sack up. And I was like, if they send me, I was like, if I die over there, I die. But at least I'm gonna do it with my boots on.
Sweet.
I was like, I'm not gonna do it in here by my own hand, like a bitch made that. And then I just organized my affairs, man. And pretty much, about 2 weeks later, I was in France.
Let me back up real quick. So you strike me as a good guy, bro. A guy with a good heart.
Thanks,
Now,
man.
you talked about doing coke, selling coke, steroids.
Yeah.
What do you know? Look, in hindsight, where was that coming from? That behavior?
Dude, I think I just was used to living in chaos, or I had this like criminal mind or something. And I'm like, well, what's the best way to make money? Well, what's the fastest way to do this? And I was looking for these quick fixes for a lot of ways. And what's the quick way to do this? And a lot of it, if I really get down to it, is ego based.
Right.
It's like, oh, I want to be the man. Oh, okay. If I'm not gonna be a SEAL, then I'm gonna be the best fucking coke dealer in fucking town. Like, it's like status. It was all status, and that was maybe what I tried for SEALs. I had to like make these big goals, French Foreign, and that's what I ended up finding, which we'll kind of probably get into later, is when I was in that French Foreign Legion barracks room a few years in, going, oh shit, there's nothing else. Like, where do I go? And that's when I had to start looking internal and realize that, man, there's no external validation that's going to make me feel good. That's not it. That's fault. First of all, it can be taken away from you.
Right.
I don't care if it's a job, dude, even people's family or whatever, dude. The truth is, anything exterior of you, if you're not good with yourself, you're not good for anybody else. So start in self and work out, and then then it's solid.
I'm glad you said that, man. That's something that I had to identify too, man. The title, sergeant, lieutenant, cert commander, it's like, fuck, dude. Until you find inner peace and inner happiness, you're gonna be fucking miserable chasing something that doesn't exist.
Man, and I'm pretty sure you saw it, man, being a prison guard and stuff. It's like the rank. You get one more up. You get a little bit more, get a bit more clout. In the military, it's like, oh, I get a little bit more ass behind, the more brass, you know, and it's a little bit more authority. And it's just status, man. I think men in general were pushed, were status pushed. And that's it's endless. It's never going to end. And we see a lot of people all over who aren't happy because they've never addressed the actual foundational principle, their daily, their mindset, their whatever. They're not into, reading Stoic philosophy or scripture. They're not taking any time to reflect on self. They're completely looking external to fix an internal problem.
Facts, dude.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're saying all this stuff, bro.
Man, it's a never-ending abyss. It's just like a drug, man. It's a drug.
Damn. No, you're right.
No.
What is the process to join the French Foreign Legion? Is it an online application? Is it a paper application? Do you get on a toll-free line? What do you do, man?
Man, this is such a weird thing because it's like it doesn't sound real, but there's no application. There's nowhere to call. There's one way to do it, and there's two places, Oban and Paris, the headquarter regiment, or out in Paris, where you just go knock on the door, man. You knock on this iron door with a bag. A dude will open it. I had a Mexican dude with a green beret. He was from Mexico, foreign legionnaire with a FAMAS, and he just told me to take off my fucking hat and hand me and give him my passport, man. And I didn't see that passport again for 2.5 years. And from that point on, man, I just went into the gallows of this like medieval structure. If anybody, like, they could Google it, or you could maybe show a picture. It's just a big brick, looks like a medieval castle with ironwood gates, since La Légion Étrangère over the top, Foreign Legion, and you just go bang on the door like Wizard of Oz or some shit, man.
Dude, did you go to the one in Paris?
Yeah, there's one on the outskirts of Paris. It's called Fort Nogent.
But is that the one you went to?
That's the one I went to because I thought it was a little bit more poetic. And also, man, it was like down in the headquarter regiment, I heard it was a little more hectic. There's just a lot more going on, and I heard it was a little bit more like chill of a process for the pre-selection. Now, these are pre-selection centers. So you're still in civilian clothes for for the first couple weeks. They're not like throwing you right into a military. They're not yelling at you yet.
Before we jump right into that whole thing, how many selection stages are there?
So you start, there's a pre-selection.
Okay.
Then you go into selection. And most of that is a little bit of physical, but it's mostly psychological interviews, medical screenings, teeth, and IQ tests. So that's usually what they do. But the interviews and the Interpol background checks and all that are pretty hardcore too, because they don't want sex offenders or anybody who's got serious issues with like arms trafficking or drugs trafficking. That's pretty much the only things that'll really clip you up.
What kind of individuals are they looking for? Gung-ho individuals, or do they want some fucking thinkers too?
Man, that's a good question. The Foreign Legion is a very interesting institution because, first of all, it's ancient, man. And if anybody doesn't know, it's a 200-year-old institution that was started by an old king to get foreigners out of the bars and out of his streets back onto the battlefield with the carrot of French citizenship. Nice. And it's modeled after the old Roman legions. So you serve your time, okay, and then and so that was the premise. So they have a lot of tough individuals from different countries, some with military experience, some with not. And also, it's a one-stop shop for France. So to answer your question specifically, they need them all. They need thinkers. They also need guys who are about to charge the machine gun nests, right? They got guys crawling out of holes in Russia, just monsters. And then you got dudes from India with like glasses, that they need to push the paper because they have their own cavalry, parachute regiment. They have their own infantry, engineering regiments, mountain regiments, like where I was at. It's a one-stop shop. They don't outsource anything. Kind of like the Marine Corps in that way. They have their own medical, admin, cooks, everything. 7,000 dudes. And they're spread all kind of around the world.
I had no idea, dude.
Yeah.
I had no freaking idea.
It's a one-stop shop for France, and they like it because, and they fought in every war from Algeria in the 1800s to Afghanistan. Every single war for France, and there's no political pressure of French citizens coming back in body bags. They're just foreigners.
Oh, shit.
So there's no... Okay, it's not a French not a French flag draped over the casket, right? You also don't swear allegiance to France. You swear allegiance to the Legion. It's very unique. It's a branch of the military, so it's formalized, but it's kind of like the Marine Corps in the sense of the strict military bearing nature of it. But they will take anybody as long as you fit the parameters of the physical side, and then you're not a complete idiot, right? They don't want you thinking too much. It's not that type of place. It's not like think and shooter place. They want you to shut the fuck up more often than not. And they say that a lot. They're like, don't ask questions. You know, shut up and just go.
Dude, that's very interesting, bro.
Yeah.
Now, you gave me a little brief history. Is history lessons part of the training?
Oh, yeah. The tradition in the Legion is massively pushed. It's one of probably the most important things you got to remember. First of all, you're not going back home for a couple of years. They don't give you your passport. So I didn't get to leave the country for like the first 2.5 years. That's part of the system. And they give you a fake name. So they give you a fake name, fake French identity, not French identity, but European identity with social security number. So mine was Trent Clayson. And so they give you the same initials and they just move your birth date around in your birth city. And that's you, man. And that's how everybody calls you. Nobody knows your real name, nothing. And you could keep that name forever. You could get French citizenship and just live on that name for the rest of your life if you wanted. It's very, very bizarre. Or you do what I did, and after a few years, you put in some paperwork called régularisation situation militaire, and they'll route some additional paperwork, do some additional backgrounds, and they'll send you your passport, and they'll give you all your name back. They'll change your name tapes and all that.
Damn, dude.
Yeah.
Is it like the United States military where you're contracted, locked in, you can't leave or you'll be AWOL?
Yeah. Yeah, so it's pretty much like that. So if 5 years, 7 years, to get naturalized, it's about 7 years. So, but 5 years is kind of the minimum contract to how it goes in.
And you were ready and available to sign up for that?
Man, I had nowhere else to go. So that was the situation, because the actual interviews for me were really hardcore because I came with my DD-214.
Okay.
So I wanted them to know who I was, but I wasn't really lying about my past, which was nice because the Foreign Legion, man, dude, they got guys showing up with fucking face tattoos, heads blasted. They don't care about tattoo regs, and your background can be checkered. That's designed. There's no Boy Scouts there. So
right.
It's kind of refreshing in that sense. It's like
right.
You go to MEPS and you're like, yeah, I smoked weed and I fucking did this and that. They're like, okay, later.
Get out.
Yeah, you're out. They're like, they want you to be more honest because they want the known evil. They want to make sure if you are who you say you are, okay, we can deal with that. They don't want like the guy that's doing weird shit. And
sketchy shit.
Sketchy
weird
shit. Yeah, and so those guys that do the interviews, man, are like masters at body language. They speak like 5 languages. They're pretty high-ranking enlisted guys. Super experienced. From all over the world, and dude, they read you, man. They're called Gestapo. They call them the Gestapo interviews. And mine was like 8 hours. They were like, look, man, what the fuck are you doing here? Why is a Navy SEAL here, right? You were special operations, because the Foreign Legion is not special operations.
Is it a panel of numerous individuals or one-on-one?
So I had a panel, and so some one-on-one, but some panel, because they're like, dude, you're going back to infantry. This is an infantry unit, right? Highly trained infantry. You're going to be fucking sharp shit on the bottom of the ocean. Are you ready for that? And I was like, look, man, I ruined my fucking life. And I need a second chance, right? And they're like, all right, that makes sense. Like, it's not like that far out. It checks out of the sanity check. So I got accepted and I got picked. It's about 1 out of 15 guys that come to the door that actually will be given that like opportunity. And then you go to boot camp.
Wow.
So that's the process. That whole process is about 5 weeks. Month can be a little bit longer.
Are you staying in barracks?
Yeah. So at the beginning, we're like you're in a barracks, but you're in civilian clothes. So it's what you brought. You're up, but you're on a military timeline now. Now you're shaving. Now they're, kind of whistling you around, but you're in civilian clothes. Then when you get to this selection phase where you're down in the headquarter regiment now you're in like sport jumpers. Now you're running around. You got a little like guard belt, like that lame shit.
Yeah.
But now you're sitting at tables, burning time for the most part. And then sleeping in barracks rooms, sleeping in bunks, barracks rooms where you're up, making your bed and doing all that shit. So then once you're selected, then you're in a uniform and now you're getting kind of indoctrinated into the process.
Hey guys, consider becoming a patron where you will get first exclusive dibs on the video before it airs to the public, and you'll get to ask the guests special questions that you have in mind. So that's also another way to support the channel. Thank you guys. Appreciate all of you. Keep pushing forward. Make sure you hit that link in the description below. While there's other individuals from other countries there also.
And everybody's in the same room, man. It's a trip because there's no Americans, bro. You have a couple Americans trickle in. Most of the countries, the biggest percentage is Brazilians. Colombians, South Africans. You have a ton of Ukrainians, Nepalese, some Mongolians, and then you got all the other, bunch of Africans, nations, Thai, and some scattered in Western cultures, Australia, but that's very few. Maybe a couple from Japan or something like that. Some Chinese.
During that time frame, had the war in Ukraine already kicked off?
So this was in 2019 where I'm talking about this, but I was in the Legion when that kicked off. So that was interesting because 10% of the Ukrainians, so they were leaving to go fight. A bunch left to go fight. Some I know are still over there fighting. Some guys from Belarus. So very interesting, the dynamic, because we also had guys from Russia. So sitting, very, very weird to be in that dynamic. But man, you're sitting in a room and hearing like 15 languages being spoken. It's very, very odd. I can't think of another place in the world, maybe the Olympics or something, where you might be able to hear something like that.
You're right.
But it opened up my scope, man. It really did open up my scope of the world and how people grew up. And there's some tough motherfuckers out there, man, right? With some experience. And a lot of them come to the Legion because of 3 reasons. Kind of like go back on your question, like who are these fucking guys that join?
Right.
There's like the romantic guy that's like, oh, my girlfriend broke up with me and I'm going to go in the Legion and be, fight war. And I had one guy from like Tunisia or something, and he was sitting, this was in the pre-selection, he goes, my love and war, they are like this, they are one and the same. And I looked at the dude, I was like, this dude doesn't stand a fucking chance. And he ended up getting smoke checked out. I was like, yeah, so you have those types. And then you have the pragmatic guy that's like, I want the citizenship and the money, because they get paid way more than their home countries, sometimes triple, right? So they're making it rain when they go back to Brazil. They're crushing it as foreign legionnaires. And then you have the machine of war, the guy that like wants to get after it.
Right.
And you have some of those. I'm probably like a mix of like the last two.
Right.
I'm like, I was there for kind of a pragmatic reason, and also, I kind of want to, we can mix it up, we'll do it. But
yeah,
that's the 3 styles of dude.
Oh, that's cool, man. Thank you for breaking that down, dude. Was the leadership of the French Foreign Legion pumping you guys up about the war in Ukraine? Like, hey, you guys are going to be partaking in this, or they kind of...
You know what's weird about the Foreign Legion is there's like very little dissemination of information.
Really?
It's very top down, and it never gets down.
No way, dude.
Dude, I would be on ops and shit. I had no idea where I was fucking going.
No way, bro.
Dead serious. No idea the target. Nothing. No idea. They're just like, hey, man, here's the gun. We're going to be out here. We're coming back this time. And a lot of it is, I think, the culture, because you have French officers. Most of them are officers from France who went to their academy. So they're like academy French guys. And they're like, these guys don't fucking understand the French anyway, because everything's in French, man. So like, none of us know French. So you do learn French slowly but surely, but it's really rudimentary French. So there's some of that. And also just it's the culture of, this is a unit where you just do what you fucking are told.
So is it a whole lot of pointing? Like, hey, you get the fuck over there?
There's a lot of pointing, and there's a lot of looking at the dudes who know French. It's like, what's this guy doing? All right. So, but they'll show maps and they'll show, inserts or infills and things like that. So you have a kind of understanding, but like the actual overarching strategic approach, you're like not really tracking on really what that is for the most part. But it was it's an cool institution because it's tough, man. Right? They're probably the least funded out of the French military. You're the least fed, and so they're just grimy, man.
It sounds tough, dude. It sounds tough. From an outsider, it sounds fucking horrible.
Yeah.
From an outsider, right? Yeah. Is it like fucking like straight, like bashing you? Like the Marine Corps, they sound tough. The boot camp, is this straight smoke sessions?
Dude, it's a lot of smoke sessions, and it's a lot of fuck games.
Is it?
Oh, yeah, it's a lot. Dude, there'll be like a lot of hazing, and it's like, oh, put your fucking dress uniform on, then go get in the fucking shower, and that better be ready by tomorrow. That type of shit.
Did you learn any cool hazing tricks while you were there?
I hate hazing, man. Dude, they make me drink these casks that are packed with like who the fuck knows, man. And like it was crawling in the snow because we were way up in the mountains. It freezing your balls off. I'll give you an example. I was marching not good, and I stick out, bro. And the colonel sees me, and he calls the company, and he's like, "L'Americain, he marche comme nous le chais." He marches like shit. They're like, "Fucking handle it." So that was a huge deal because a colonel called, and they're like, "Hey, American, what the fuck did you do?" So they made me go outside, and I had to stack a pyramid with rocks for 3 days. There's no rocks. So they're like, "Hey, there needs to be a pyramid as tall as you, we don't care. And it's fucking blizzard, snowstorm, rain, snow in December, way up in the mountains. And so I'm walking like 10 minutes to go put 3 rocks in my backpack, 10 minutes back, stocking for like 19 hours a day for like 3 days straight, just because I was marching bad.
I love it, dude.
You know,
I
was
like
like,
it.
they can't break me. I was thinking,
I like it, bro.
The wind's hitting my face. I'm like, like they can't break me.
I like it, dude.
Yeah, I was like, fuck it, dude. But there's a lot of that, a lot of like, hey, Navy SEAL, come clean this fucking toilet. You know, there's a lot of that stuff. But like anywhere else, man, you put on a little rank,
Right.
you get a little experience, and you don't budge. And real recognize real at some point. Like,
Right.
they know the deal, dude. And I pull out an HK, dude, and I'll light the range up.
Right.
You can't, all that experience doesn't go away. So my weapons manipulation, my understanding of tactics is good. And so that all kind of came to light over time. And they're like, all right, this dude.
Yeah, you're an asset, bro.
Yeah, and they're like, hey, dude. And deployments, right? You get FaceTime. I deployed to the jungle in South America with
Holy
them.
shit.
I was doing interdiction of illegal gold mining, dude, deep jungle operations, dude, for like months. And then when we went to Estonia, we also did some internal work in France for like anti-terrorism domestic missions. So you get FaceTime with people. You know how it is. You deploy, and then, dude, now there's new guys coming in, and now you're the older guy.
Perfect, dude.
You know, so it's like, I wasn't much of a hazer just because I got shit to do. Like, I want to lift and stuff. But, you know, you tune dudes up if they're disrespectful and shit.
So let's back up to the hazing. In 2024, man, we can both agree that America has gotten soft. The world has gotten soft.
Yeah.
Right? What is your take on, and I hate to use the word hazing. People think hazing is a bad thing.
Yeah.
Right? But do you agree that
DMI, extra military
doesn't it build
intention.
character, though? Wouldn't you agree that some of it is a necessary evil?
Yeah, I think that there's unit cohesion, right? And there's bonding. So there's some things I did in the SEAL teams, man, that would be considered hazing. Man, they were fun. Like, looking back, man, they sucked, man. You're kind of bummed out, but man, it's like, it's kind of a cool memory, and we did some stuff. Nothing was super dangerous, but I do think, people drinking too much, and like hazing can go another where it breaks unit cohesion. So I'm like, if it builds unit cohesion, it's good. If it also teaches a lesson, it's good.
Facts.
So people getting tuned up, man, for being disrespectful or dangerous is fucking necessary.
Correct.
Right? It's 100% necessary. And guess what? If you don't fuck up and you're not dangerous, you're not getting tuned up. Right?
I'm gonna clip that, bro. It's fucking perfect.
It's facts. And so I didn't have problem in the SEAL teams regarding that because, dude, I was locked on. I took pride in being prepared, in being on time, knowing what the fuck I was doing. So I never had any issues with it. And so guys that weren't that way or just didn't have the aptitude or were just not putting in the extra work, man, you bring on the heat.
A lot of similarities between the military and prison, bro. If you fuck up, you're going to get fucked up.
Dude, I could see that. I mean, I can imagine over the years, you're like seeing guys come in, process, you're like, this dude's going to be fine and this dude's going to have a lot of issues. And I'm sure, you're like, this dude understands the flow and this dude's going to go.
Literally, dude. Literally, bro. So you did multiple operations with the French Foreign Legion?
Yeah. So we did 2 big deployments. The first one was down in South America, and the other one was with NATO on the Russian border when the Ukraine war kicked off. Now, we weren't in Ukraine, but we were with the Enhanced Forward Presence Battle Group, they called it, which there was 3 staged. There's still are one in Estonia, one in Lithuania, and one in Poland. Maybe one in Germany, I think, too. But it was with the UK, the Danish, the French, and the Estonians. So we were kind of the French Foreign Legion contingent, tank movements, a lot of just flexing. So that was like more exercise unit building relationships with countries. Now down in South America, though, that was a Wild West down there, man. Because I didn't know France has territory in South America. That was news to me. And figuring that on the way over there, right? French Foreign Legion, they're like, you're going to South America. I'm like Googling shit on the way over there. But it's a country right next to Suriname, north of Brazil, east of Venezuela.
Jungle?
Dense Amazon jungle. So it's an old penal colony of France. And dude, there's a movie out with like Dustin Hoffman. It's an old movie that they do the movie on that. I forget what it's called, but it's badass. And they do it on French Guiana. Guiana Francais. And the French call it l'enfer vert, which means green hell. And it is exactly that. Deep jungle operations, and I didn't realize how much gold's down there, man. There's legal gold mining that France has their piggies in, right? They're getting paid taxes and stuff. And then there's a lot of illegal gold mining. And that is what they send the French Foreign Legion down there to patrol and break up.
Is that when they use children, like the movie Blood Diamond? Or
Dude, it's all that stuff, man. We would patrol 14 days in some days and hit gold mines every day. New ones every fucking day. Break up all their shit. They have structures, the whole towns, man, for the most part. And they would have, all the men would run and there'd be like kids and wives and like grandmas out there. You're like, man, what are we doing? Like,
do they have weapons?
Dude, some of them out weapons. They're running. We weren't taking rounds. Some of the legal guys were, one got shot in the neck and some other things were happening because, right, they're robbing them, right? So there's like bandits out there that are robbing these guys that are, dude, they're pulling out like 750 grand a week in gold in some of these spots, legal spots. And like 6 guys running an operation, right? And they're getting on a dirt bike. A dude's in the back with like the gun, dude. It's like the gauntlet.
Damn.
Yeah, it's fucking wild.
Did you actually see any gold?
Oh, dude.
Were they like nuggets? Were they like big?
So
What
it's raw. It's raw, but there's so much gold in this one place. It was like an island. There's this spot interior that's a bunch of small little islands in French Guiana. And so we took these boats out to this one island, would run all guys off. But I mean, they had the full on like gold, like wagons going into the, like built like that. We brought a bunch of demo, blew it all up. But on the beaches of these places, man, you'd put your hand out, dude, all gold flakes like in your hand, dude, just laying on the ground. Obviously, just, you know, so small flakes, it's not something you'll like put in your pocket, but you could see it.
You guys would blow up the gold?
We'd blow up the whole gold mine, blow up everything. And we're like, you know, you got to process the gold and stuff, but we just blow it up and they leave it. I'm sure the French units would come in and do something or you know, whatever mining organizations they have. But dude, there's so much of it that, I mean, I've started to get hit up after I came back with like guys with companies going, hey, what's going on down there? Yeah. And now they also found oil off the coast of the thing. So billions of dollars from the United States are getting funneled down there to build infrastructure. It's hugely popping right now.
I can't even
But
imagine.
it's bringing a lot of problems too, man, because, dude, what it looks like coming up to these places, and you can look at satellite imagery of these places, you're like, hey, illegal gold mines, it's crazy what they do. They dig these massive pits and they dump mercury in it. And that's how they kind of pull the raw material out and sift it. But dude, these things like glow in the dark, bro. Like, and they would have me jump in and pull these fucking engines out.
Mercury, that's the shit that they put in the...
Oh, bro, I like glow in the dark now, bro. It ain't good for me. They're like, hey, Navy SEAL, go, you can swim. They're like, go get the, dead serious. So I was swimming in this shit, pulling these diesel engines out. We'd break them up, blow them up, run the people off, burn the shit down, man. So it's not just structures, and then go on to the next one. And we just sleep in the jungle and drink water out of the water purification tablets, and just, that's how we were getting down.
With all the elements you've been in, man, with the beaches of San Diego as a SEAL, the South America, how are you with elements and the different changes in the climates? Which one do you despise the most? The cold?
Fucking cold, man.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. I mean, we're from fucking Southern Cali, bro. I was stationed in Germany. Oh, it's fucking miserable, dude.
Yeah, dude, the cold, bro, is like the unescapable, because there's a difference between cold and military cold. And people who, any military guy watching this will be like, yep, because in military colds, it's unescapable. It's not like when you're cold in the civilian world and you're like, yeah, I'm a little cold. Oh, I'm just going to go inside or go in the car. It's like, nah, bro. You're staying out here and it's fucking going to be all day or all night or weeks. Or
months.
Or whatever. You're staying out here and not being able to escape it. And so there was a lot of that in the Foreign Legion also in the farm. They call it the farm. That's the first initial boot camp phase where they just kick you in the dick. And it's in the French Pyrenees. So, dude, it was middle of winter, dude.
No way.
And dude, we had kids from like Tahiti and shit, bro, that never, ever saw snow. And they were fucking freezing. Got kids from like Chad. Dude, they're like, I saw this kid from Chad, bro. He had never been like in any temperature, like, you know, under super hot. And he's like sitting there like this. And he's like, he didn't put his thermal pants on. And so like for like 2 days, he's like, and I'm like, bro, you good? He's like, and I saw him, I'm like, bro, you gotta put those thermal pants on, dude. He's like, oh shit. Like, I'm like, bro, he's paying the man. Dude, was tough though, man.
You guys have any like hypothermia casualties or cold weather casualties?
We had some guys go down. Like, but they keep you running for the most part, you know, so you're not super, you know, that doesn't happen. But man, cold on a different level because also you're sleeping in cots and they're not giving you the gear yet too. When I got into the mountain regiment, which I don't know why I fucking chose that fucking thing. So I went to the glutton for punishment. They at least gave you good gear, so our gear was better. But dude, we were sleeping in fucking igloos in the Alps.
No way, dude.
Dude, we were making igloos for like underground for like 30, 40 dudes.
Are those effective?
Oh, dude, it at least puts it at 0 degrees Celsius. So it's like, manageable. And so we dig these little coffins in. And dude, but it was cool, man, because you have guys from like Norway and shit who like know how to get down in the cold. And so I'd have, you have watch or you got to stay up, and it's security. And I'd go down in the igloo and like be seeing like if everyone's good. And like I'd just see like I'd come into this guy's like little like room and he'd be sitting there like this, like a kid from Norway. He's got like hot tea and like
just chilling,
bro. And I'm like, "What's up, dude?" He goes, "Want some tea?" And I'm like, "Fucking God bless these dudes like that know how to get down in the snow." But I say the snow's probably the worst for me just because you can't escape it if it's cold. But I like the jungle the best.
Explain to me the jungle, bro, because I've never been like the Amazon or anything like that. What do you see, dude? Like big ass spiders, fucking snakes. What do you see, bro?
Dude, it's like Avatar.
What do you see, dude?
It's like Hunger Games down there, dude.
Is it?
It's pretty wild because what it sounds like too. I had some audio too after I could play it for you. It's like moo all night.
Well, what is that?
It's howler monkeys mixed with other things, and they call it. I think that's what they call it, green hell, but you just hear it in the abyss. And dude, I got attacked by these things. They're called fireflies, but they ain't like our fireflies here. They're like real fireflies. And we came across a nest of them, dude. And I swear it was like that scene from Hunger Games where those fucking bees come out. It was like,
are they similar to bees?
Bro, they are bees, but they're like flies. They're some kind of weird alien, and they were the meanest fucking things. You couldn't run far enough.
Yeah,
they're coming at, dude. Once they picked up on you, me and this kid from Madagascar, dude, paid the man on these things, and got bit by a lot of stuff. There's a lot of ticks too, so you'd have to really be careful about the ticks. Piranhas, crocodiles. They came in crocodiles and shit because we were bathing in the river too, man. We didn't have showers and stuff, so we were washing our clothes in the river and stuff. And they have caiman crocodiles.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn, dude.
You could eat those things, though, man. We had guys that were killing the crocodiles and eating them.
Nice. How did that taste?
It tastes like kind of like a chicken, kind of like a grimier chicken.
How much of that impacted the mission? The animals, the climate,
I would say the climate more than anything, because you can't really patrol too far from water, even though it sounds like you're in the rainforest, so you'd have a lot of water, and you did. But when it rained, man, we didn't waste it. We'd put tarps up and like fill our bottles up and shit. But dude, you pound. You're always wet, so you pound it. You're not even pissing. You're just constantly drinking and never pissing. just you cannot. And if you get too far from that, I got pretty close. I went Winchester on water, and I was like not wanting to say anything because I was still a new guy. And I look over, and this guy from Nepal is just like bone dry, like totally chill. Those dudes are hard, bro. And I'm like, dude, are you not sweating, dude? I'm like, he's like, nah, I'm good, bro. I'm like, can I have some of your water, dude? I was dying, dude. And so I've had a couple of close calls like that. But I think more than anything, it's the terrain than the animals.
Damn, dude. So did you find the fulfillment that you were looking for while you joined?
I would say what I really went in for was I needed some time to just fucking get my head right. I was like, I knew I was wrong. I was still living wrong. I was still immature. I wanted to get correct, but I didn't know how. And so I knew I needed just a space to figure that out. So it provided me that. So I didn't even really care what I did operationally. I didn't think I was going to get better experience in the SEALs. I knew I wasn't going to go to like Iraq or something. I was just like, look, if I go do some cool shit, they give me a gun, cool. Yeah. But as long as I get some time to like use it as a vehicle of self-development, that will be, and that's exactly what I got. So
that's awesome, dude.
Yeah, I was grateful for that.
That's awesome, bro. So as it came to an end, as it was winding down, how many years did you do?
So 4.5. So
4.5?
Yeah, I ended up doing 4.5.
Is there an exit ceremony? Do you get a form, a DD-214 type of?
Well, my exit ceremony was a little bit different. Because, so I'm sitting in this barracks room, and I'm done now, right? I'm like cruise control. So I'm like moving trucks and stuff like on my
Yeah.
Twilight tour because I wasn't going to re-up. And so I'm like, dude, but I was like at this point now where I was, man, feeling good about myself. I was like, man, what am I going to do after? I was like, well, you know, I would love to share some of because I had no social media or anything. I wasn't like doing any of that stuff. And so I was like, man, dude, I want to share some of my story and talk about where I've been. And I was suicidal and now I'm like very happy. I'm happy in the Foreign Legion, like having good days. If I could be happy here, I think I could be happy anywhere.
Right.
So I was like, I want to share some of my story. So in my barracks room, I just put out a video. And that video popped hard. I just told my story about stream of consciousness, no edits, just kind of talking about drugs, you know, being in this and that. And that was fine, but until it got big enough, and then the Legion, like NCIS, was like, hey, take all this shit down.
Oh, are you serious?
Yeah, they came at me hard, and I said, but I was already getting a lot of some like, dude, your veterans from your war, your whole push, like, hey, dude, I was about to kill myself, bro, like straight gun in hand, and I saw your video, dude, and I fucking thank you. And I was like, I was getting the chills, man, because I was getting hundreds of those. Hundreds, because I had put my email up there. Like, dude, if you're having a problem, hit me up.
Yeah.
Because I've been there. I promise you it gets better if you just put one foot in front of the other. And, dude, I was getting flooded. And so I really felt like I was on, maybe it's not correct, but I was like, look, man, I feel like I'm on a divine push. And I was hearing messages from God like, hey, man, you got to stay the course here.
Right.
Fuck what anybody says. And so they're like, take it down. I was like, I'm not taking it down. I'm not taking shit down. Let me tell you. I didn't say it like that, but I was pretty much denying order from the general. Because they were like, that fucking American, that Navy SEAL, he put his thing up. And they were fine with it until it got really big.
Correct.
And they're like, you know, it's getting hundreds of thousands of views. But I got bad respect for the Legion. I've never uttered one bad word.
Right,
I
right.
never would. But they didn't know what I would say. So I understand their side of it. I said, look, let's do this. If this is an administrative battle, let's do it. So I got a lawyer. I got a French lawyer. I said, all right, if we're going to do this, let's do it. So I tried to fight the case, you know, and you know, that you can only fight an ancient institution for so long. And I was doing it for a couple months. I wanted to stay and finish it out. I was like, dude, I just want to leave on good terms, you know? And they said, look, if you don't take it down, we're going to put you in jail for 4 straight months on like food discipline until you take it down. And then we're just going to kick you out after the 4 months. And I said, well, that sounds like a shit deal. And I talked to my lawyer and he goes, dude, you're not even a citizen here, man. He goes, dude, it's totally legally gray. They can do whatever they want. They'll lock you on the base, which is technically illegal, but you're not a citizen. So they're like, dude, you should probably just beat feet. So we broke the contract, man, and they're like, all right, we said our goodbyes, and I was done.
Broke the contract? What contract?
Yeah, there's no contract anymore. I was like, hey, man, I'm leaving. And they're like, all right, if you're gonna leave, then you're done here. Right?
And you never took it down?
No. I never took shit down.
You just bounced.
And I left. Yeah, the lawyer's like, dude, you're done here. Like, you can't do anything. They're not going to change. And if you go back to the regiment, they're going to put you in fucking jail.
That's good, though. I don't see that as a loss, bro. I mean, I see it as it is what it is.
I wanted to leave things on good terms, and I really tried it. But I was like, look, at some point, you got to fight for what you actually think is right. I go, am I right? Maybe not. I go, but I truly think I am.
Right.
On my divine path. And the proof is, it's like, you only know if it's a good call in retrospect. And I go, man, now I'm engaged. I got a baby on the way. Business has been massively successful.
Right.
And dude, I've been helping people every single day. My purpose, man, is showing people where I was and recording my whole life of, dude, you can get yourself right by changing your daily habits and thought process.
So you said you came on scene in December. When did you leave the French Foreign Legion?
So technically my contract broke in January.
January?
Yeah, so technically but I was back in the United States December 17th.
Okay.
But I had done like all the legal paperwork. I had a doctor, and they said, here's the thing too. They said, all right, you can leave, but you're going to have to claim PTSD, and then we're going to have to go through this psychological process. I said, I'm not doing that.
Right.
I said, I'm not going to go make I said, look, man, I'm going to do this on my terms, and I'm not going to like play this game, man, and lie about some shit to try to get the paperwork. I was like, dude, I'm good. So that was the call I made, and that's the call I'll stand by.
That's good, dude. No, that's badass. And you came back to California?
Yeah, and I came, which was weird because we had met and started talking, and I'm like, well, I'm going to go back to because my mom lives in Poway. I hadn't seen my mom in years, bro, you know, and I was like, just wanting to come back home, and she happened to live in Temecula. And so it was kind of interesting how things happen.
Yeah.
So I came right back here, bro, direct here.
So what a lot of people don't understand is that you had already gotten your mind right, your daily habits, your good positive habits, and then you barely started filming yourself.
Dude, here's the thing, Hector, and I think a lot of people are doing this now. They're trying to be known without being worth knowing.
Correct.
So you got all these people who've never done shit.
Correct.
Trying to be known.
Trying to sell something that they haven't even done yet.
Yeah, to go, dude, how are you going to teach me about, or anybody, about hardship and overcoming when you've done neither? You know?
Yeah.
And so, or experienced none. And so I say, dude, first, get yourself correct. Get yourself on a good process. Achieve some things. Have some social proof. Have some experience, man. And then when you know, you can open your mouth and actually have something to fucking say, and the world will show you if it's worth it listening to or not. Like the proof's in the pudding, man. The market will tell you.
Yeah, dude. And I've been in those dark places that you've been, bro. Like, I wouldn't say I was suicidal, but I definitely did not want to live.
Yeah.
Right? And I was doing everything in my power to get killed, bro.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
yeah, and that's dude, that's a powerful place. And I think a lot of guys who've been there, dude, you know, bro, that is such a terrible place to be.
it is fucking dark.
It's
dude.
Inescapable, all consuming. And also, man, you can't, I get the chills, man, because I remember it so thick that it's like every day I just never want to go back there. And so I tell guys, dude, if you're in that, let's start making some moves. Getting some momentum, making some shifts, and getting a little space between that feeling and that next step, man. And that in that gap is where you're gonna learn quite a bit, man, and see a little bit of that light. And it's no way to live, man, because you can't build anything. You can't build a relationship. You can't sustain you can't build a life. You can't build a business in that dark place. It's impossible.
Are you good at identifying where people are at in their stage of growth?
I ask a lot of questions. So most guys I work with, it's like a holistic approach. Like fitness is a piece, but it's like with you, it's like fitness isn't my life, bro. It's a piece, man. It's like a fraction of what, but I think it's mandatory for mental clarity. So I ask a lot of questions. Some guys it's glaring that the fitness is where we need to start.
Right.
Some guys are pretty well developed and they just are like, man, I'm still experiencing I'm just not happy, man. And so it might be habits. They might have some weird vice that's pulling them. Dude, they might be porn addicted or this or that, and they can't really see that that's what's holding them back or something, right? I'm not saying people need to be a monk. That's not my whole approach. But I'm like, man, start taking active things to pull things away and make yourself a little better. Just one small thing here, one small thing there. The Japanese call it kaizen, which I really like. It's small incremental adjustments.
Right.
Most people don't need massive course corrections. Some do. But most need small adjustments over time, just consistently, man. And then one day they're like, oh, fuck, dude, I feel pretty damn good. And it happens like that. They don't even realize what's changed until they look back and everything's changed.
Now, would you say this journey of self-growth is a marathon or a sprint?
Oh, dude, it's a marathon, baby.
That's what's up,
It's
dude.
a marathon. Dude, flash in the pan shit, it doesn't last, first off. And success, it glows, it doesn't flash. True success is like, I look at it like a nuclear reactor. Like that. That is how I visualize success to me. So for me, I'm like, chop the wood, make the post, hit the workout, nothing flow state, nothing sporadic, nothing dramatic. And I try to work that in my emotional state too. It's like that walking meditation. It's like, man, I'm turned up a little bit, man, but you can be high energy and still be fucking calm. Right. You can send it and still be grounded. And so I always try to view things, man, in that, a lot of Greek philosophy and things. What is this thing teaching me? All these stories is our life's one big story. What's that guy who just cut you off, flipping you in traffic? What's he there to teach you? You don't need to get worked up. We go, oh man, thank God for that guy. It taught me a little patience.
Patience.
It's like,
patience.
Man, I pray for that guy, man. I hope I hope he gets over whatever he's working through.
Right. How important is it to fall in love with the process?
Oh my gosh, man. The guy who falls in love with the process is going to smoke check the guy who wants the results. The guy who's just in it for the abs or whatever is going to fall off if it doesn't happen fast enough, or he's got or he gets injured, right? The guy who just does it because he just wants to feel better and loves to just feel proud of himself. Man, I just want to wake up early and hit my workout, or make the correct moral decision, this, and just because I want to feel better. Just the process of that, man, is the aggregate exponentially that stacked over time, dude. Because if you're just doing it because you want the dollar amount or this or that, dude, it's going to be futile. Because especially when you get there, it's going to feel hollow. When, dude, it's like, dude, I love this whole base. The whole base is what I'm into, not the top.
How important is mindset?
The mindset is the entire lens. It's your entire lens on the world. That optimistic lens sees opportunity, right? So if you're in that closed-minded, low vibrational state, which is that mindset, right? That low vibrational mind. That low vibrational mind is pleasure seeking. That low vibrational mind is pleasure driven, not purpose driven. It's also very negative. So your mindset, man, think about when you come home in like a low vibrational state in your relationship or whatever, or work, and you take things personally that you normally wouldn't. When nothing's changed, and you might hear that same thing, and nothing's changed except your internal your state. Your mindset's just different. So you're interpreting external information differently. So it's changing your life, changing it. Mindset is the entire game. It's the entire game. It's going to make sure you go to the gym. It's going to make sure you see the opportunity, you communicate correctly, you actually operate at your highest capacity, man. I can't think of a more important thing than maintaining an accurate and correct mindset.
You're right. No, you're right. Taking that calculated risk when you need to.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, and having the balls and the clarity to know when to make that call, like that risk. You're like, okay, I see what's going on. Dude, if you're in a weak mindset, you're going to fucking let that opportunity pass. You're going to be scared. Fear-driven, man. I'm sure you've seen a lot of this. Heck, man, military and off and this. People who are driven by fear, man, are a slave of it for their whole life, and they're going to miss so many opportunities. They're also going to miss a high quality of life, right? If you're scared to try, scared to launch the podcast,
right?
Scared to, man, what if it doesn't work? What if it's all for nothing, bro? That's fear. It's limiting beliefs. It's all these things these terms that we say, but it's everything, bro.
No. And for the record,
everything to conquer.
And for the record, I was scared to launch this podcast, bro. Because I mean, I'm human, I'm normal, so it's like, fuck the what ifs.
Yeah. Well, how am I gonna figure out, man? It's so complicated, man. How so many things, and it's like, dude, Joe Rogan didn't know what he was doing,
right?
At some point, these guys don't. Nobody knows, and I think that a lot of people are waiting for permission, waiting for permission or something to like drag them. Dude, it's not coming.
Elaborate more on that, dude.
So a lot of people are like, okay, I'm going to wait till I'm sure, or that there's some sure thing into that next step. When, dude, nobody is coming sliding that badass life under the door. It's not coming. It's fucking, just accept it. Once you accept it, then you're like, all right, well, let's make it happen then. Let's go do it. Let's try it. Let's figure it the fuck out, right? Nobody's going to come and grab you by the hand and give you permission. Hey, man, come start this podcast,
right.
Hector. It's going to work out really well. And you're like, okay. And no, dude, you got to make the connections. You got to reach out. You got to show up. You got to do this and push it, man, and ask the right questions and be in the correct mindset to link up. Dude, it's
facts.
Build the connections in the network. It's not happening for you. You got to be valuable, and you got to be willing to get yourself into circles that push you and make you fucking scared and feel inferior, man. That's the only way.
What are some misconceptions that people have of successful people? Like, hey, maybe they were born into riches, or what are some misconceptions?
Well, a lot of people think that, a lot of wealth is inherited. Most wealth in this country is actually self-made people. And the term self-made is a little not necessarily correct, because nobody's self-made, right? Everybody has help along the way. But it's a cop-out. It's a cop-out for people to point at why they don't have it. I'm like, man, that guy might have just worked way fucking harder. Right? Dude, do you think when your shit pops and it's, you're having lists and people look at you and they go, oh, you just handed it, yeah, Hector, yeah. Dude, nobody knows you went to fucking war and enlisted in the military and did all these like grind. Nobody's gonna know all that backstory.
Right.
And they're not gonna see it because they don't want to see it. They don't want to see it, man, because then the haters online, the people that throw shade, they want a reason that they can sit in their mom's basement, say, oh, dude, I wasn't given the opportunity. It's like, bro, I was raised by a single mom, dude, right? Raised by a single mom, joined the military, man, took loans out to go to college and shit, paid a lot of debt back, like made a lot of mistakes along the way, you know, but making it happen, going to jail, this and that, talking to the right people, figuring it the fuck out, riding my bike around, you know, and I'm not saying my situation was the hardest. I'm just giving you an example that that there's a lot of pathways to the top of the mountain, and everybody's given some type of benefit, opportunities or talents that they can take advantage of, and it's them capitalizing on it, man, and maximizing your life. Play the hand you're dealt. To play the hand you're dealt, to go all in. So you only got one hand, so why not go all the fuck in?
Right.
Right? You only got one option.
How important is networking with the right people versus hanging out with the gossipers, the Debbie Downers, the toxic people? How important is network?
You said two words there that I like that are very important to differentiate, right? There's hanging out and there's networking, right? Hanging out's wasting time. We don't have time to hang out anymore, right? I'm sure like you growing up and for a season, there might be a time where you're hanging out when you're younger. Dude, but at some point you go, it's time to get serious. It's time to get serious about our life, dude. Hanging out is for the birds. So networking, man, I only want to be around people that most of the people, if not all the people that I'm around, dude, are in better shape than me, more money than me, more experience in a war than me, more this or more. I like to look up to the people I'm around.
Facts.
I'm like, man, I'm impressed by this guy's business aptitude, or man, I feel inferior in a lot of rooms that I walk into.
Really, dude?
Yeah, man. I feel like, man, dude, I got to prove myself here. And I think that, man, if you're walking into a room thinking, man, I don't got to do shit here, bro, you ain't valuable, dude.
Right.
You got to, any group I walk into, I want to prove myself to. Like, man, if I want to prove myself worthy, man, we're on this. I want to prove that you're glad to have me on this podcast,
Absolutely.
man. Like all these things, man. Maybe that's from a rooted childhood thing of me not feeling worthy enough or something. Who knows where it comes from? But I always feel that. I wake up with that every day. Dude, I wake up and I feel fat and broke and like, you know.
Damn, dude.
Dude, every day, man. And so I pop up out of bed and I go, I'm going to work this feeling away until I go bed to the next night, do it again.
No, I'm glad you said that, bro. Reason being is no homo, bro. There's very few people that I think are more badass, right? Yeah. And you're one of them, dude. It's like fucking, this is a badass dude, bro.
I appreciate that. Well, dude, I look up to you, man, dude. I know where you've been, and so I got mad props but dude, I don't feel that way at all. And I think that that's part of my talent is I never, ever felt like that. I never felt like I was the shit.
Right.
I always felt confident, man.
Right.
Always felt confident, and you should feel confident about but I earn my confidence, right? I make sure that I wake up, I get my clarity good. Times that I haven't been confident, when I've on drugs or hungover or this or that, I feel like dog shit because I haven't earned it, man. I'm burning karmic debt. I deserve to feel like shit. And when I'm proud of what I've done in the day, man, and I'm like, dude, that's when I feel confident. My energy's right. And I've earned it, right? Inner peace and clarity are the two of the most coveted states on the planet. They're not free, right? People think they should wake up and feel, dude, you haven't done anything yet. Dude, we got to earn it.
Earlier we spoke on ego. How would you describe being selfish versus being selfless?
Man, there's a piece of being selfish I think is important in that I think just like those masks dropping up out of the airplane, you know, they say put your mask on first. Dude, I think you have got to be good first. I see a lot of people, I think women experience this a lot too, is they try to be everything to everyone and then they end up smoke checking themselves. And men do it too, man. Try to be providers and never complain and like, I'll just be stoic, and then they're dying inside.
Correct.
I go, bro, invest in yourself a little bit. It's not selfish to go to the gym, dude, for 30, 45 minutes an hour, get your shit straight.
Right.
Then you come home and you're a miserable piece of shit for the whole day. No, go get your correct, feel good about yourself, eat some good food. That's not being selfish, right? And any person or in a relationship, you know, the opposite, you know, the spouse, if they're pushing back on that stuff, that's something you got to check. I go, hey, Jim Rohn, I don't know if you know Jim Rohn. Jim Rohn's like a real old-time famous like motivational guy. He said something good. He goes, I used to say, hey, take care of me and I'll take care of you. He goes, I learned the faulty of that statement. He says, how about now I say this? He goes, I'll take care of me for you if you take care of you for me. I
like that, dude.
Yeah, so dude, everybody's got to start with this, with a little bit selfish so that they can be selfless correctly.
Right.
They can now you can take care of everybody else correct, man. When you're not hollow.
So what is it that you're doing now, bro? After you've been through the gates of hell, you got all these fucking experiences, man, good and bad. What is it that you're doing now?
Dude, I do all online one-on-one coaching. It's all I do. So I got elite programs. I got mid-level. The whole thing is I take that holistic approach.
Right.
So I ask a lot of questions. Man, mind, body, soul. That's what I focus on, man. Let's I'll show you a blueprint, what I do. I built this blueprint over years of like fucking up and to where a nice daily battle rhythm. Let's get you your wake up times, your supplements, workout program. Here's what food to eat.
Right.
Here's how you do it. Man, where's your weight goals. All right, let's get your body good. Then let's start working on what literature to read. Man, how should you be thinking? Let's work on mindset and visualization training on Zooms. How should you be approaching your morning process? Getting a good, clean morning process that's not some like 2-hour biohacking bullshit where you got to stand on your head and in a red dot, something simple that you can do in a hotel room and that's, I think, is foundational. And so that's all I do, man. And I'm writing a book now. That should come out, next week. Maybe we'll do a book to movie kind of thing that they're looking at. So I got some work to do on that. But my whole focus, man, is speaking engagements and then in my coaching, man.
Where can people find you, dude?
Everybody can always get me on my website, taylorcavanaugh.com. That contact form goes right to me. I don't outsource and I don't do AI. So that contact form goes right to my personal email. It has some pictures and some more of the story. Or on my Instagram, tcavofficial, where, once again, I always answer my DM. So hit me up and I'll hit you right back up. And TCAV TV, YouTube, where we dive into some of those deeper principles. I do stream of consciousness videos a couple times a week, just no edits, no stopping the camera. And I post that first video always. And I do gym sessions, man. SEALs, famous people, man. I travel around and we go to different gyms and we just talk about business, family, faith, finance, all that stuff, man.
That's fucking badass, bro.
Yeah,
Yeah, I've been catching your stuff, dude. Your Instagram reels, your YouTube channel.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah, dude.
I'm stoked to be connected with you, man.
Me, bro.
Yeah, dude, I got your energy when we were just like walking up the door. You're like, what's up? I'm like, dude, you can always tell somebody that's been through, that's like stacked. You can always tell somebody that's like had some weight on their shoulders.
Wow,
you know what I mean?
that.
It's very obvious. It's like how you can tell, just square jawed, thick, broad shoulders, man. It shows. It always shows.
No, I appreciate that. And that's what we're trying to give back to the world, bro.
Yeah.
We're like, hey, we're offering this to you guys, man. Just fucking take it. Take our hand and we'll lead you to the fucking promised land. Or not. Or fucking stay there.
Yeah.
But we can tell you what the results will be.
It's a free country, man. You don't have to do anything. I say, but here's this. Michael Jordan had a coach.
Right.
Dude, I have mentors. I'm sure you've had mentors and continue to do outside of accountability. Very helpful. Like, let's be quite honest. It's 10% information, 90% accountability.
Facts.
So we're not splitting the atom here. But hey, what? There's analysis paralysis. Most people don't do shit because they're like, is it keto? Is it this? Is it that? Is it fucking fruit and watermelon diet? I'm like, bro, how about we show you a clean blueprint, something that works. You see somebody that works. Do they have a lifestyle, a mindset you want, approach, have some similarities? Cool. And then, okay, let's make a change because nothing gonna change if you don't change. Just facts.
Facts, dude.
Yep.
Is there anything you want to end, last closing words?
Yeah. It's all in your power. If my mission is boiled down to one thing, it's empowerment. I say, dude, I don't care if you reach out to me. Reach out to somebody. Make a change. Make the decision. I say, man, it takes one moment to decide and then a lifetime to prove it. A lifetime to prove what you're all about. Never stops. Once you make that decision, you're like, my purpose is being a badass motherfucker. That's it. Taking care of my family, showing up, having people around me being like, that's my fucking dad. That's my proud to point and be like, if you're not that, look yourself in the mirror and say why. And then why won't you make the change? That's it.
And stop blaming other motherfuckers too in the process,
it,
man.
It's all, the minute I pointed all the fingers at back of myself was the moment I started to make some changes for the better.
Facts, dude. Well, Taylor, dude, thanks for fucking coming on, bro. I was blown away by this episode, bro.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate it, Hector. Thanks, man. This is solid.
Oh, I'm glad to meet you, dude.
Yeah.
This shit's awesome. We got a network for sure, bro.
Yeah, we'll linked up, man. We're in the same city, dude. Let's do it.
Definitely. Well, there you guys have it, folks. Holy shit, man. A lot of fucking knowledge, wisdom for you guys, man. You can't get this shit anywhere else. Thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on the bottom. Love you guys. Keep pushing forward.
You've been listening to Hector Bravo Unhinged. Follow for more.